If you're a rapper in the music industry, there is a 99% chance you have been arrested or at least had run-ins with law enforcement at some point in your life. Hopefully, that was before fame, but still, there are some rappers who end up getting arrested, even with a multi-million-dollar music career. I'll be sharing a list of rappers who already got arrested in 2021, and share the truth behind their court cases. You're not going to believe this. The Baby. Due to The Baby being arrested back on January 7th, his music career could actually now be in jeopardy. On January 7th, The Baby was out shopping inside of the store called Montclair, where the person working at the counter apparently noticed that The Baby was holding a firearm in his pocket, and then he ended up making the call to law enforcement saying that he had it on him. The store worker made the call to law enforcement after The Baby was done paying for his items in the store. While leaving the store, The Baby ended up getting into his car, and then was surrounded by law enforcement. Just a moment later, The Baby was then taken to the side, and while they searched through his entire car, that's when the firearm was found. The Baby was then taken into lockup and was able to be released on bail for the time being, of course, but still will have to face this case in court. Pretty soon. The Baby only lasted 7 days into 2021 before getting arrested. But wait until you just hear about this next rapper. NBA YoungBoy. Now this one is a pretty obvious one. An NBA YoungBoy with his arrest record will make it to just about every list. But the NBA YoungBoy has already had multiple run-ins with the law enforcement this year. But the most recent one just a couple of weeks ago, at the time of this recording, was a crazy NBA YoungBoy who was taken into lockup. While on a high-speed chase allegedly, NBA YoungBoy tried losing the feds on the road, which again is a whole other charge in itself. But NBA YoungBoy's car ended up getting flagged down. As he was just driving on the road, he had an outstanding federal warrant on his name, and casually went out into the public for some reason. Now once NBA YoungBoy's car was found driving down the street, the FBI then started the chase for him. This did set off a short pursuit, but once NBA YoungBoy's car was stopped due to traffic apparently, NBA YoungBoy thought it would be a good idea to try to make a run for it on foot. NBA YoungBoy tried running for the hills with the feds, literally on his tail the entire time, which again is another charge added to the existing ones. But then funny enough, there was a couple of fans who spotted an NBA YoungBoy running from law enforcement. NBA YoungBoy made a run for it in some fans' backyard, which ended up being caught on camera. But honestly, I'm not even surprised that an NBA YoungBoy is on this list, if you know about his current prior situation. N.L.E. Choppa. Now this was a surprise to many people, but Melly Choppa was taken into jail pretty recently after being caught in a pretty serious incident. Now reports came out of Melly Choppa being arrested. He was taken into lockup in Broward County for the charges of burglary, firearms and possession, which is pretty crazy to think. Now Melly Choppa was allegedly trying to break into his own or a friend's vehicle. This vehicle was taken into a tow yard as it was illegally parked, now inside of the car. Allegedly, Melly Choppa had a watch inside of the glove box. Knowing Melly Choppa, this was probably some sort of diamond out expensive watch, probably around $50,000. Which I can understand why he would want it back. Now the funny thing is, you're probably wondering, how did he get arrested for burglary on his own car? Well, it wasn't his car. In the tow yard, his actual car ended up being down the street in a different tow yard, and he was allegedly caught trying to get into someone else's car. Now while trying to break into the car, who doesn't even know if it was his or not. I'm assuming he was spotted, and the people who work at the tow yard must have ended up calling the law enforcement for backup, as they saw 3 men hop the fence wearing ski masks and trying to get into some parked cars inside of their tow yard. Now with their arrival, they ended up finding multiple things on Melly Choppa, which I am very surprised about, as he was with 2 other men at the time, and I'm very surprised they didn't take the fall for NLE. But Melly Choppa ended up getting taken into lockup on 4 charges, and is still currently held in lockup at the time of this recording. If you are still watching this video up to this point, make sure you leave a like and comment down below your favorite rappers so far on the list. I'm curious to know. Next on the list, we have Silent Toe. Now, this rapper, many of you probably don't know him off of his name, depending on how long you have been a fan in the hip-hop community, but this is a rapper who ended up making that song "What Nay Nay" type thing. I'm pretty sure you understand what I'm talking about. This song at one point was probably one of the biggest songs in the entire world, and it was for the longest time, and then this rapper kind of just fell off. It seems like, yes, he was a one-hit wonder, but sadly this rapper has now been sentenced to life in prison for doing a certain act towards his cousin. Now sadly this act ended up having impasse, which is allegedly all of his fault. Now having a rapper be at fault for something this serious just goes to show you that, even if you have millions upon millions of dollars, even some of the richest people in the world still do things that they will regret for the rest of their lives. Money doesn't make you just some perfect person, and still to this day, there are tons of millionaires who have now been sentenced to life in prison for doing things in the real world. Now he already has been taken into lockup for this, and has already allegedly been charged for this incident, which is the very scary part, as it's all pretty much set in stone now. Sadly the specifics of this incident, as I broke down and all of the other rappers, haven't really been fully shared online now. I do believe that is because it is a family matter, and with that being a family matter, they actually don't have to share the specifics, if they choose that. Next on the list is Nehemiah Lamar Harden, who was apprehended on an arrest warrant in room 746 at the AC Hotel Miami Aventura around 9 p.m. on Thursday. Harden faces several charges including aggravated assault with a firearm, possession of a firearm by a convicted felon, and accessory after the fact to a felony pending the investigation warranted by the alleged incident on June 20th. The victim of the alleged incident, a parking attendant at a garage in Miami Beach, told police that he was working when 4 Dodge Chargers, 1 white, 1 green, 1 gray, and 1 burgundy, arrived at the location and parked. Local 10 News reported that a dispute took place over the cost of an $80 parking fee, and police said that Harden pulled out a gun and pointed it at the victim. He allegedly said, "You know what it is," before the cars fled. Harden was lying in bed at the time of his arrest with an AK-47 pistol next to him. According to detectives, the gun was within reach and readily accessible for immediate use. He was granted an $18,500 bond at a hearing on Friday, according to NBC6. Next, we have rapper Polo G. Polo G was charged with battery against a police officer in Miami following a traffic stop early Saturday morning. Polo G, whose real name is Taurus Bartlett, was also charged with threatening a public servant, using violence to resist an officer, and resisting an officer without violence and criminal mischief, according to Miami-Dade County Court records. The arrest occurred after an officer began a traffic stop at the intersection of South Biscayne Boulevard, NBC Miami reported. Bartlett appeared to refer to the incident on his Twitter account, saying that they play in foul in Miami. One of the officers told us they were on us since we got off our jet, he also tweeted. His mother and manager, Stacia Mack, tweeted that her son wasn't the driver of the car that was pulled over, and that police initiated contact with Bartlett. None of these charges would be possible if the police did not make contact with my son Polo G. He was not the driver, she wrote. He was a passenger in a professionally licensed vehicle with security. He was moving smartly and correctly. What more could he have done? The Miami Police Department said it was aware of the arrest and reviewing the incident, which will include looking at the camera footage involved. The department did not immediately respond to a request for comment from NBC News on Sunday. Bartlett was released on bond from the Turner Guilford Night Correctional Center, according to NBC Miami. He posted a photo to his Instagram on Saturday night of himself on a plane, with a caption that said he was traveling to Atlanta. The 22-year-old released his third studio album, Hall of Fame, on Friday night. Bartlett launched his own record label, Only Dreamers Achieve, last year in partnership with Columbia Records, according to Music Connection. So to stay up to date with everything going on in the rap industry, just make sure you subscribe to the channel and leave a like. See you in the next video.